The Bitcoin price has continued to fall on Tuesday, extending losses all the way down to levels not seen since January, retracing below 30,000 for the first time since the start of the year. We're speaking with Saifedean Ammous, author of The Bitcoin Standard, and now his new book, The Fiat Standard, and an independent educator at saifedean.com. Dr. Ammous, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Saifedean, we're going to talk about all things Bitcoin, and I want to talk about, of course, your new book, The Fiat Standard, and what readers can learn and expect to learn from you. But first, let's talk about recent news. China, as you know, has been cracking down on Bitcoin transactions, essentially making over-the-counter transactions almost illegal. And of course, that has brought the price down to multi-month lows. What do you make of this news? Is this a concern for investors, or should people just shrug it off?
Well, it's a little bit difficult to say so early because it's we've had plenty of these false alarms before, particularly from China, where we hear news that says things along the line of Bitcoin is going to be criminalized, and then a few months later you hear it happening again and again and again, which shows that it hasn't really been quite effective at achieving its goals. It seems like this time is a little bit more serious. We've had many China bans before. It is a joke among Bitcoiners that China bans Bitcoin. It's banned Bitcoin 50 times at least so far. And every time it turns out that maybe either they go back on the decision, or that it wasn't really a ban. It was a ban of a particular operator or a ban in a particular region. But it looks like this time it seems to be much more serious, and we can see it in terms of the hash rate declining. So a lot of miners seem to, in fact, be going offline. And also we can see it in terms of the price. And I think it makes sense that if this would happen, we would witness a decline in the price, because, these miners were essentially handled a very massive business shock, where their business have to stop operating in China, and they need to find a place. They need to find somewhere else in the world where they can relocate. So that's a huge new expenditure that they need to come up with. And basically, if you're a Bitcoin miner, you're in that business most likely because you have high conviction in Bitcoin and you want to hold Bitcoin. And so when you are subject to a crisis like this that creates problems for your operation, the thing that you will have to sell is most likely going to be Bitcoin, because you have a lot of Bitcoin. So I think it seems like the impact is that miners are having to sell a lot of their coins. They're having to liquidate a lot of their coins in order to finance the move of the equipment, and that seems to be quite serious.
I was reading the news, and according to a state-run Chinese newspaper, 90% of China's mining capacity has been shut down over the weekend. Now, I was reading also that 65% of global Bitcoin mining comes from China. And you were talking about the hash rate. That's reflected in the hash rate. It's been declining ever since May, and it's really taken a dive in the last couple of days to weeks. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Saifedean, but shouldn't the logic be that once you have less mining, you bring up the scarcity of the coin, and the price should increase? Why are we seeing the reverse happen?
Yeah, no, that doesn't quite work like that in Bitcoin, because in Bitcoin, the reward for mining, the amount of mining that's going to come out every day, is independent of the number of miners that come in. That's what makes Bitcoin unique, and that's a key point in my book, which is Bitcoin is the first good whose supply is completely independent of demand. It doesn't matter if 5 people are using Bitcoin today or 5 billion people are using Bitcoin. It doesn't matter if 5 people are mining Bitcoin or 5 billion people are trying to mine Bitcoin. Every day in this year, we're roughly getting, in this 4-year period from last year until 3 years from now, we're getting roughly 900 new Bitcoins a day, or about 6 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. That's going to remain constant regardless of what happens with the quantity of mining. There is a period of adjustment every 2 weeks. The difficulty adjusts. And so there are times where it can be faster than 10 minutes or slower than 10 minutes. So to get more than 900 or less than 900 every day. But roughly it's going to be around 900. So what ends up happening is that the way that Bitcoin mining works is that the reward is fixed. And then the difficulty of the mining adjusts depending on the number of people who are mining, in order to ensure that the reward is not exceeded.